What is up, guys? Today I'm going to be telling you about my level up story, and I'm going to be getting real personal. I don't know how personal I'm going to get, but real vulnerable. So this is me. This is me before I became a mother on a tabletop at a bar. And if you look really closely, you will be able to see that there is a dollar bill being stuffed into my pants. I remember that I was so freaking drunk, you guys, that I literally almost fell off of the bar, and the bartender people were serving drinks in between my legs, and somehow I thought that this was the life. I thought that I was living the life of like the Bad Girls Club, and this was before the Bad Girls Club was on. I think that our perception means everything in terms of our level up journey and what we think leveling up is. This is a classic example of the level F chick. Okay. Now I want to move into this. This was a significant period in my life because I was actually in bike week, and this is actually when I went to bike week with my son's father. This is not my son's father, but we were friends at the time. And this is when me and my son's father actually started our intimate relationship. And so this was kind of the beginning of the end. Once again, I thought this was a life with my booty hanging out. I thought, hey, look, take a picture of me and my fatty. And I posted this on social media just to show how fly I was. And those sunglasses I have on my face were courtesy of my son's father. And I knew that he had stolen them. And once again, I was attracted to those bad boys. And I just thought that, yeah, this is the life. I'm living good. This is the fast life. This is super fun. And this was just my ideal of being young and dumb. So now, this is my son's father in jail. I'm going to show you a series of pictures in my son's father in jail because this is where I think so many of us women go wrong. We want to be the ride or die. Obviously, I had had my son by this time. This was after I had gotten pregnant. My son's father had left me alone for the entire 9 months. About a month after I had my son in the hospital by myself, he did not sign the birth certificate. He came to my home once only to look at my child and say, oh, you can't have sex yet, like basically, and then he left. And then once he got locked up and he determined that he did not have anybody else to be there for him, that is when he decided that he wanted to become friends again or to try at having our family again. It wasn't, and I changed the clothes in these pictures because I wanted it to look like less jail-like, I should say that, but all of these were taken in jail. So after he spent several years in jail, 7. And so after a long time of this, it was determined that he was actually seeing several women. The jail people would actually tell me this, and it came to the point where I was like, I cannot do this anymore. Yes, I might be smiling in these pictures because it is a picture, but never make the mistake about it that this was absolutely miserable. Every time I would see him, sometimes there was like, oh, you might not be let into the jail because he already had a female visitor. Or he was looking over his shoulder because there might be another female coming in. I found out that he was still legally married when my son was around this age. And it just became a point where I had to walk away and really determine what it was that I wanted from my life. And I don't know that I had ever determined that because as women, oftentimes we just want to give to men and show that we are the number one and that if we just prove ourselves hard enough, then maybe it will work out. But it didn't. When I walked away from my son's father, I did decide to go into my master's program, which is what I was doing at this. But if you notice how I look, it doesn't look like I'm an educated person. So a girl getting ready to finish her master's program, sliding up against the pole, okay? And I just ultimately thought that I was doing something. This does not represent an educated person. And the next day I went up to get a counseling or a certification from the National Counseling Honor Society. Now, mind you, out of what I just showed you in the picture before, does that represent this person? This particular moment was very significant for me is because I actually lost my job, and this was my son's birthday. And I remember I didn't have any money to do anything with him. So I took him to the local mall and I put him in his bathing suit and I took him out where he could play in the water because that's literally all I had. And I think that I took him to get like a donut in the back of the place, and I remember hoping that my card would not get denied. And I guess my point here is, like, even though I was a single mother, I wanted my son to be exposed to something. I never wanted him to be limited. I never wanted him to know that we were lacking. And I never wanted to make excuses as to why we did not have. And I also never wanted to let circumstances not, keep me from doing. And the crazy thing about me losing my job is I actually lost it behind a man. I was messing with a man who was also messing with my supervisor. And when it came to lay off people, I was the first to go because she wanted me out of the way. So this was the ultimate accomplishment in my life. It was really where I had put in all the hard work, and I had this wonderful home that I was able to buy brand new. And a few days before I closed on it, I lost my job because, like I said, I was doing something I didn't have no business doing by messing with that man. So it was a hard struggle for me because where else was I going to live? I was closing on the home. I bought the home, and then I had to find another job. And really the jobs that I found wasn't paying that much. I was still getting my master's. And then I went through this phase of trying to find my own type of style and fashion because I was like, okay, I need to level up. And I tried to make myself something instead of just wallowing in self-pity. By this time, I still went ahead and enrolled in my PhD. I was like, okay, well, I have to get more education because I got to find a job somehow. I have to look better somehow. I have to be more marketable somehow. If I just keep going, I got better at makeup. I started looking better. Mind you, for this whole time, I was single and celibate. After I lost my job because of a man, I became celibate and I was still happy. But that's when the moment of healing came, because that's when I determined, yes, I need to figure out what I am doing outside of men, outside of anybody else. And that is where the ultimate accomplishment and the ultimate leveling up came, because I did whatever I wanted to do in order to be happy. And I did it for me, not because I wanted to find happiness in somebody else. And so that is when I became. Notice the woman from the bike with her butt to this woman who was absolutely single and happy. And the ultimate level up was because I wanted to do it. And look at how I did it. And I was able to, take all the failure and become somebody that was uniquely me. It's not a copycat. It's not like some, hey, you have to be this. It's not like, hey, you have to look at that. Or it's not like the ultimate fails in makeup and hair. It's still that edginess. It's somebody that, we call Sophia. You have to go through the good, the bad, the struggles, the pain. And you have to learn how to turn that into what you were created to be. And I definitely believe that life is all about that. Never mistake that because you see this now, that there wasn't something else before, okay?
Dedication, preservation, take a look inside, your salvation.